Hello and welcome to Take You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. I'm your host, JP John Potts from the Two Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me is the star of the show, the former WWE World Tag Team Champion, 8-time Smoke Around Wrestling Tag Team Champion, one of the greatest trainers ever in the history of the business, the Doctor of Desire himself, Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, how you doing today, sir?
John, I'm doing great as always today. Thanks for asking as always as well. See,
As
I don't know.
far,
You know what? You know what? Let me stop you right there.
yeah,
Because usually when somebody asks, "How are you doing today?" you're going to say, "Oh yeah, great. I'm doing fine." But other people won't really tell you their neck hurts, their back hurts, and let me tell you all the problems in the world. So, I mean, I think that's a redundant statement. You should already think, or I should already think, well, how are you? And if you're doing fine, you would tell me right off the bat. But
yes.
yes, of course. Anyway, whew, just trying to make it different, John.
Hey, I like it, though. I like it. I
I
like
knew
the.
you would. I knew you would. Yeah.
So, what's going on with JPWA lately? Anything good?
It's we're getting right at the beginning of summertime in Knoxville, and it gets really hot, and a lot of guys are finding that out. So this is the ninth week. They have 3 more weeks to go in JPWA, and they're feeling the first part of summer. And the summer class starts July 4th. So uh, they're going to feel they're going to get right in the middle, right in the good time of summertime. So we're anticipating the next class, getting ready for this class to graduate on the 24th, and uh, seeing what happens.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
David Rish, what's up, Tom? Nice.
David, if you've been listening for the past 2 minutes, you know what's up. We've been talking about JPWA.
Now, here we'll get into the topic at hand, Cody Rhodes. But David, of course, was wondering what's up? Your thoughts on Cody Rhodes?
Well, obviously he's got people talking about him, and he did the right or made the right move for himself, for his career, for his family. I think Cody's definitely one of the smartest guys in the business right now. He negotiated his contract and got back to where he wanted to be and had high hopes and has dreams and aspirations. So the only place to fulfill those would be WWE and win the WWE Championship. So I think he's on the right path. I think it's on doing a great job, actually.
With Cody being in WWE, I think a lot of people were surprised just because he basically started his own company, started AEW. You know what I mean? He was one of the EVPs. People were kind of surprised to see him. Were you surprised to see him in AEW? Well,
Uh,
leave AEW for WWE.
yeah, I guess I was not shocked, but maybe surprised at the same time. Um, the same thing when CM Punk came back after 7 years. There was a hell of a reaction, and because it was new, it was different. And same thing when Cody decided to switch, and people started buzzing about it. Um, I think that really is looking back on everything, hindsight being 30/30. You look back and say, well, there've always been these shocking moments in wrestling, and they've been game changers, and they've changed the history and changed the trajectory, I guess, of the business. So, uh, no matter what, you got people talking. Not sure how it did in the ratings. Not sure how the numbers are going there, quite honestly, but um, they did get some talk and some interest going. So, I think that's a positive spin, no matter what.
With him doing that too, it's just like it was a shock to the system, and it seemed like it hurt AEW for a little bit. Just they kind of still do seem a little bit out of sorts, but Cody obviously doing what's best for him, right? I mean, you got to do what's best for yourself.
Well, yeah, and is AEW really suffering? I mean, I didn't get a chance to see the pay per view, but I've talked to people who have, and they said the Jericho match was a throwback to old school. I mean, brawl and blood and guts and stuff like that. So,
I heard that
what
was
they
the
were
only good part of the show. That was the only good match. That's what I heard. Yeah.
maybe it was, but I also heard the fans were into it from start to finish. I don't know, but point being, I think AEW's AEW has their fan base, and AEW fans are pretty loyal, it appears. And so whatever side they find themselves on, they being the AEW faithful, whether they're happy for Cody for leaving or hate Cody for leaving, it's something to be interested in and follow as you're going along. Now it's MJF who is making waves or making internet hotlines or headlines, and
Yeah.
so who knows? Who knows who's doing what and who's playing who?
Speaking of MJF, just Harvey says MJF just delivered a pipe bomb.
What did he say?
Do you think the MJF promo was a shoot or a work? So basically, he cursed a bunch. They bleeped him out.
Tonight?
F word. Yeah, tonight. Looked like the F word came out of his mouth. That definitely got bleeped.
Sure.
He said that he wants to quit, but basically, Tony, fire him. You don't belong in the back. You belong out here with the fans because you're a mark. And you keep signing ex-WWE guys while I'm right here being the best guy on the show. I don't need to drop guys on their head or do all these crazy flips. Don't make sense because I make you feel and I give people emotions and I'm the best wrestler here without being an untrained, reckless idiot. Basically was paraphrasing a little bit, but not much. I mean, that's basically what he said.
And he had how long to deliver this on TV?
About 5 minutes, yeah.
Oh,
So they're saying it's like a little bit of a work shoot, that this is like a Brian Pillman type scenario all over again.
I would certainly think so. I would certainly hope so.
But he's been complaining about he's wanted more money, and then I know it's been out there. His contract doesn't run out to 2024. Well, he says, like Darrell Revis back in the day for the Jets. Even though you're under contract, well, I want more money because I'm better than the original rookie deal. Not rookie,
Yeah.
but the initial contract.
Well, and he really has a point. And that's where I think it comes in when you have guys like Punk and Jericho and Billy Gunn and Dean Malenko and guys who have been around for a while and have seen great angles their entire career and their entire lives. Know that it still goes back to the basic unpredictability. What is more basic? What is more fundamental than I'm pissed off? These guys are making more money than me. My best friend went to the other company, is making more money than me. It's if he had 5 minutes to say it and Tony was really hot about it, I think he has some kind of connection where he could probably get that pulled off or just have him sit at home. So I think it's great that at least people are talking about it and people are having something to watch. I haven't watched AEW in a while, haven't had the opportunity, but from what I hear, they've been coming up with some good stuff. So I hope, I mean, my whole attitude on this thing is I hope everybody winds up back to where there's a buzz again, a buzz about wrestling, kind of like when it was in the Attitude Era. I don't think we'll ever get there, but it would be great if you had guys who understood how to tell a story and go out and get a reaction and be authentic and have people care that you're authentic, have people care about who you are. So if that's going to be the case with MJF, I think it's great. And if that's going to be the case with Cody Rhodes, I think it's great. Cody is, hold on. Do you think MJF is ruining his career if it's real? No. I think Piper's shown that. I think other people have shown if you're that good, they can't deny you. They're going to want to use you. The Ultimate Warrior showed that too. Not to compare MJF with Warrior, but the point is, Warrior wasn't an easy guy to deal with, but he drew money and he drew fans and excitement. So he came back. I think no matter what, if you're good, you're good. If you're great, you're even better. Something like that.
I don't think he's ruining his career, but if just say if it's real, he's doing it because the fans are really like getting into it. I mean, it was super over tonight, almost babyface-esque. Even though he's being a heel, it's almost babyface-esque. But they were popping like crazy because he goes, "You keep signing ex-WWE guys."
Right.
They were.
But is he being a heel or is that telling what everybody knows and everybody's reading on the internet and everybody's seeing the headlines? So it's there's very few people who know how to put the right amount of ingredients into the recipe and blend it and make it come out tasting great, smelling great. And a guy like MJF and obviously Punk and some of those other guys who are there can know how to put things where they need to be and blend it up into the right mixture. And by going out saying Tony Khan is a mark, you belong out with the people. Well, that's when people go, oh no. So I think it's great.
MJF is your top heel today, says Barbara. In AEW, definitely. Yeah.
Well, again, I'll throw the question out: is it actually a heel or a babyface? If people are cheering him, then it's kind of like the Austin anti-establishment guy. So, no matter how good and how loving people felt towards Tony Khan early on, once you come out and start being that guy, and everybody knows, you're going to have people piling on. So,
Yep.
yeah, it goes with the territory.
Years ago, the guys went where the money was. No contracts like today, which is true.
It is true, and that was the model back then. So today, this is the model you have to deal with, and this is what you have to deal with. The work is outside the ring. The work is in the back.
I think the heads of AEW, Tony Khan, and Impact, Dixie Carter, the Vince McMahon, just lost their originality. Things have gotten boring, says Wallace there.
Maybe that's certainly a possibility. But also, what is it that is going to attract people to wrestling after you've already seen The Rock, Stone Cold, Mankind, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Bulldogs? That's a hard crew to replace. And I think it had to do with the emotion. I think it had to do with the feeling. I think it had to do with the presentation. Not that there's not some guys who can do it today, but at the same time, it's all formulaic, whatever. It's a formula, is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I just can't find the words, but it's a formula these days, and more so cookie cutter on a lot of occasions. Not everybody, but what makes this so special? Is it too sanitized? I don't know. Somebody asked me tonight about can we go back in time? Can we have territories again? Will territories ever exist? My answer was no, because it used to be in Memphis when Jerry Lawler said he was the baddest man on the planet. He could fly people in and he could beat them. They'd see it in Memphis. And he could say that. But now you have cable TV where it's global. So it's a different model.
Different world today.
Yes.
Wrestling obviously lost the territories. Far more better product back in the day.
For that day and age, but again, make no mistake about it, Barbara. There were some stinkers. There were some terrible matches, but there were some great matches too. And the guys had a different attitude when they came to the ring. So and the society was different. The world was different. It was a simpler place.
Going back to Cody, which traits do you feel that Dr. Tom, or did Dr. Tom feel Cody and Dusty shared? What's the biggest differences?
Well, I tell you what, the traits they shared was their confidence, no doubt, and their belief, and they were authentic. And I remember one time we were right outside of Tampa, Plant City, or one of these towns, and it was the Dude Busters, Kalen Croft and Trent Beretta, and might have been Jake Hager. I'm not quite sure. Oh no, Kurt Hawkins. It was Kurt Hawkins and the Dude Busters, Beretta and Kalen Croft against the American Dream, Cody and Dustin Rhodes in a 6-man. And Dream told me that, hey, when they get here, I want you to tell me, you tell me that, hey, Dream, I need you to do the job and all this stuff. So we went into the long deal. And I said, they're going to know. He goes, no, do it. So I did it. And I don't know if they knew I was ribbing or not, or if it was a Dream that put me up to it. But as soon as I started saying, Dream, we need you to drop the fall, his wife, Michelle, was in the back too. And she started laughing. So I mean, she gave it away, and I told them, I said, no, they're not going to believe that I would even say that to you, but I did, and I don't think Cody knew it was a rib or not. So it was a rib, just so everybody knows. But
He still has no idea, huh? Never
huh?
told him?
I have
You
no
never
idea. I have no idea if he even knew or has an idea. But
but you never told him.
I never told him no.
Wow.
But they never said anything either. And then I don't know. I just remember the stares I got when I said that to Dream and Michelle laughing. But me and Dream knew it. We knew what we were doing. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Was she
But
in on it? Was Michelle in on it?
no, she
Oh,
wasn't.
no.
But I'll tell you, no. Uh, they did have the same traits, and I believe Cody especially was always asking for advice from Dream and always talking to him. So they shared that same belief system, and just realizing they can do anything.
Ibsen, our buddy Ibsen. Your
Ah,
thoughts on Stardust? Thumbs down, up, in the middle. What would you have done with that gimmick, Stardust?
well, same thing I did with the other guy that died in a flaming car crash. It's one of those gimmicks where you just go, ugh. And I don't know what I would have done different. I mean, I just know uh, I've been in one of those gimmicks where you go, "Eesh," every time you look at it, every time you have to do it. So I didn't think too much of it. I don't think Cody did either.
Not a fan, huh?
Not a fan.
I like Goldust. Did not like
I like
Stardust.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but they were two different things.
Oh, way
And I like
different.
Goldust too, yeah. And I don't think anybody could have done it any better than Dustin.
I agree.
Yeah, I just think there was circumstances taking place that um, Cody became Stardust and did the best he could with it until he said, "You know what? I'm a little tired of this, so I'll see you guys later."
Did you see what he said about Stardust? Remember at WrestleMania, he kind of did the little Stardust flip and the hand gesture.
I
He said he
don't
was
remember.
he did that even though he wanted nobody else to talk about Stardust. Do Stardust. He said he was like shedding himself of that gimmick.
I understand. I mean, Zip wasn't exactly something you want to hold on to and embrace. I'm not sure that Isaac Yankem was a real,
Right.
barn burner. So everybody's had those moments where you go, "What?" I think.
Kevin Nash once dressed up as the Wizard of Oz. Oz. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah. So that those things happen.
Do you have a relative named Randy?
Who?
Says hi, Tom from Randy.
Okay,
I know,
John.
but there's no T obviously in
John.
your name. I know.
You know what? This is ridiculous. To ask me a stupid question on the air. All right. Cool.
I love it though. Love it. Dr. Tom, how would you have salvaged the Shockmaster, who obviously
I
is Uncle Fred, as everybody
yes,
knows? It's
yes.
Cody's Uncle Fred.
I don't think there was any salvaging that. I think just move on. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just got to say, keep moving, people. There's nothing to see here. Nothing. Yeah, it was live TV. It happens.
Yep. Hey, Michael Youngblood. I wonder if he's one of the Youngbloods. He says you're a good man.
John, John. Do you think
Yeah.
Michael's part of the Youngbloods?
Hey, you never know. Just like Randy with the T he could be a Prichard. You know?
Yeah. Take the T. All right, go ahead. Shockmaster was horrid, painted. Well, yeah, but I mean that's not how it was supposed to be. It's. I
Right.
don't think I think the helmet was the last thing they were thinking about after that debut. In fact, I don't think they were thinking about it at all after that debut. I thought it was
With
a very cool helmet. I'd
yeah,
love to have one of those. Sure.
just with Cody in general, were you there in OVW when he first came in and he was first going to be a pro wrestler? I know you weren't training there, but did you go down there and go check him out and see what
I
what he
did.
had to offer?
Yeah, I did. And he was a natural. He was that guy. He loved wrestling, and you can tell he wasn't just a second generation guy riding off his dad's name. He actually loved what he was doing. You could tell it. And I thought he was talented back then.
Did you think okay, he's definitely in the maker. You'd be like, he's got the name, which is great, but like, we'll see where he goes. Like, what did you kind of think?
Well, you never know, and it was the same way with Carlito. I like Carlito. I really did. I thought he had a great attitude. Thought he could work well in the ring, and other people would question me on that. That's okay. But same thing with Cody. He was solid. He just needed to find himself. He just needed to get some experience under him, and he just needed to figure out who Cody Rhodes was. He was, yes, the son of the American Dream, but he needed to get some of that, dirt on him and go through the trials and tribulations to become who he is now. It's the same way with a lot of people that start out, and you don't, you start here and then you don't wind up the same person once you go a few miles down the road. And by the road, I mean a few years down the road. And that goes with everybody. It's not something that you just come in and immediately adapt to. Some people get it quicker than others, but as far as adapting and find out who you really are and how it needs to be presented, how you want to present it, how you feel comfortable presenting yourself, that's something I studied, especially after I stopped wrestling, and really keyed in on what is it about a guy like Stone Cold Steve Austin in a black vest, black boots, knee pads, trunks, and a bald head and goatee. What is so colorful and amazing about Stone Cold Steve Austin? The fact that he was authentic and he was a kick-ass. He meant what he said what he meant. He looked the part. He was the part. That was authentic. He had that aura. He had that presence. And it took him a while to get there too. But Cody Rhodes has now gone through what he's gone through, including starting his own company along with his friends at that time, and then coming back to the one company that he needs to resolve his career in and win the championship for his father. I mean, it's real life storyline and real life storytelling. And it hasn't been there in a long time where people actually can feel it, see it, watch it back, and realize that this is an actual thread interweaving in Cody's life and career. So, and it's the same thing again, parallel with the MJF story right now. I that's what, in my opinion, has been missing for a long time, where people have something to talk about and wonder, hey, what do you think about it? Do you think it's a shoot, or is it a work? Well, nobody would know a shoot if they bit him in the ass, really, because the only people who need to know are the people who need to know. Those who know don't talk, and those who talk don't know. And that's the great thing is nobody's gotten out and said, yeah, they're working. This is an angle, and because the only ones who need to know are Tony Khan and MJF, and the only ones who needed to know with Pillman were Pillman and Bischoff. And all of a sudden, we saw what happened,
Yep.
and that was intrigue and drama and mystery, and gosh, I'll welcome it back.
Years ago, wrestlers went to another territory, improved their stock, and that's what Cody did. They basically went somewhere else, came back, improved himself, and said, "Hey, Stardust wasn't working. I'm creating the American Nightmare. I'm going to come back and really, really, make a name for myself."
Yeah, well, Drew McIntyre had to go back to Scotland. Drew went and started from scratch, and honest to goodness, I truly believe if you go somewhere and it doesn't happen the first time, but you're not ready to give up, then start over, go somewhere else. Sometimes going back and learning how to eat humble pie is good for you, because you need to find out what it's like down on the very bottom and the rocky bottom, and know when there's no hope, that you have that belief and that confidence in yourself that you can do it, and you'll prove it to yourself. And there's nothing that can stop people like that. Drew McIntyre did it, and he came back. And regardless of your opinion of the way they handled it the first time, Drew came back and got put in that position as a world champion, and he beat Brock Lesnar during the worst time of the business, where COVID was forcing them to do it in an empty arena in Florida, right?
Yep.
So the fact is, he could look at it like, oh, well, I don't get my big moment at WrestleMania. Or he can look at it as, hey, wow, I came back, and this is a time when people need a solid main event. I need to show these guys that I deserve to be here, and I can do it in front of anybody. In order to work in front of thousands, you have to work in front of nobody for thousands of hours, long time. It takes a while to get there. And Drew put in the time and effort to come back, and he didn't just sit on his ass. He was active. So Cody did the same thing. He wasn't happy where he was at, so he made a place to go where he could be happy. And then eventually things happened where the ultimate goal was come back and accomplish what you started out to accomplish. And no matter what avenue or path you have to take to get there, people like that will find it. They won't stop until they do. And that's inspiring for me to see that there's still people out there like that, and still guys who love the business enough to put that much effort into it, and to take those risks and take those challenges that nobody else would, because you have confidence in yourself and you know you can be better than what you're being perceived as.
So all the metrics, as far as some key metrics, like they always have good ratings when he's on. Usually they promote when he's on too. They'll do the Cody countdown and they'll say he's on at 10 o'clock hour and stuff. So he's been doing good there. I know his theme music selling millions of copies, or whatever you want to call it, downloads. He's just doing really well. His merch is selling really well, sold out. I know he's doing autographs at the live shows, the house shows, and those are like the top seller at the merchandise stand. So like some key metrics, he's doing very, very well in. But good question here: is it difficult for a second generation wrestler to surpass their parents? So like Cody's doing great, he's hitting the metrics, but is it almost impossible for him to surpass Dusty?
Well, I have to believe, yeah, because Dusty Rhodes, American Dream, there's only one, and there will ever only be one. He has elements. Cody has elements of his dad, no doubt. So does Dustin. Two different styles. But I don't know if you can surpass a guy like the American Dream. I think Cody would say that too. And it's the same thing with the Armstrongs. All the brothers, from Road Dogg to Steve to Scott, would say Brad was the best worker out of them. Road Dogg had the showmanship, Scott had the business sense, Steve was a brawler, but Brad was the best worker out of all the brothers. Then you had the Bullet, their father, who was in a class all his own. You couldn't there was for the people who didn't grow up during that era and knowing what Bullet Bob Armstrong meant to the Southeast. No words can describe it. We can try, but we can't. It's like telling you how great the concert was. You have to hear it to fully get to grasp what we're saying. But Bob Armstrong, the same way. None of the boys could surpass him. And if you ever saw Brad, oh my God, one of the greatest of all. In my opinion, again, one of the greatest of all time. And then you'd work with the Bullet, and he was such a badass, and he was such a great worker. That was the greatest thing in the world too, because you'd be in the ring with this guy, and he was working with you the whole time and having fun doing it while being a badass. So yeah, it's hard to do that because Bob Armstrong, Dusty Rhodes, my God, who's another? Bob Orton Sr. I saw Bob Orton Sr. and Bob Orton Jr. And it was a different model. It was a different era back then. And the kids, some kids came along and I don't know who would surpass. Maybe Jeff Jarrett would surpass Jerry Jarrett. Jerry Jarrett wasn't always known as one of the greatest workers of all time, but Jeff definitely knew how to work.
What about Randy and Bob Jr.?
Yeah, exactly. Randy and Bob Jr. See, because Bob Orton Jr. was a hell of a worker. And it can be hard to surpass it, but Randy's right there. He really is.
When he was in Legacy, if you remember the group with Ted DiBiase Jr., Cody, and Randy, what was kind of, do you think that Randy was teaching Cody a little bit about what he learned from his father, psychology, storytelling, etc.?
I would guess. I'm sure they told stories, and I'm sure they share some information from both guys. But I think also, um, there were a lot of guys in the locker room back then, like Taker and Hunter and Sean and Flair, to do it every day and help coach those guys too. So they had enough veterans around too where they could all be sitting under the learning tree from them and sharing the stories and all that good stuff. I mean, and that's really, I think, the best way to do it. And The Rock, well, yeah, but Rocky Johnson during his heyday was awesome. He was incredible. He was charismatic, and he was a badass too.
So Cody, as far as like, okay, he's in WWE like to begin with. He gets his training from Al Snow, really, for the most part. I know there's a lot of other guys you can kind of throw in the hat too, but a lot was Al Snow. Obviously, you said you had some time with him in FCW, briefly, I guess.
No, oh wait, I think it was maybe FCW, or maybe I thought he might have come to,
Did he just swung through maybe, or?
maybe, yeah,
But
yeah,
as he's coming along, I mean, there's a lot of guys that can kind of credit, obviously his dad, Dusty, too. But then all of a sudden, he gets in a good gimmick. Then it's like they squash it. Like he mentions in an interview, he was saying like, okay, he's in Legacy. It's a good gimmick. Him, DiBiase Jr., and Randy Orton. But Triple H and Shawn Michaels didn't really want to work with him because they're both kind of green at that point. You know what I mean? Didn't
right,
really want to work
right.
with him and DiBiase. So it's like, oh, you get something, but you take it away. It's a lot of give and take. It's almost like you have to have so many years of service in before they take you
Yeah,
seriously. Yeah.
well, yeah, and I think that's gravitas where you earn that, and then they take you. Not it's not that I don't think they took them seriously then. It's just they didn't want to be the ones to shine them up. They wanted them. My opinion, my view only is I would think Hunter and Sean would want to get them after they've had a few experiences under their belts, like maybe an angle here, an angle there, and then wind up with them instead of being the guys uh, to look to. I don't know, but I would think they didn't want to teach them then, or wanted them to get some more experience first.
So he was an OVW champion. He would be a Ring of Honor champion. Obviously, along with in AEW, he'd be a three-time TNT champion. He became the NWA World Champion while
Yeah.
in AEW. He beat Nick Aldis for when they had a little team up with the NWA. So outside of like WWE, he was doing really well inside WWE when he was there. Intercontinental Championship twice. That was like the high water mark. And then a few times tag team champion. So it was like he never really got that big push. But now that he left and came back, now it seems like, he's mentioning Roman Reigns. He's mentioning the father or the title his father never won. So it seems like now this is a good spot to maybe be the WWE champion. Or at least a
Well,
big match with Roman.
by all means, and it's everything to do with timing. After how long? 3 years in a brand new company that he helped found, and certainly he says, yeah, things are getting a little different than when we started. So
Right. Yep.
why not? Yeah, why not send feelers out and see what's going on? Um, Works perfectly, and I'm sure he had the strategy. He can't. He's not a dumb guy at all. So great strategy. And nor I would go out on a limb here and say that he will at least one time wear the WWE Championship. May not be this year, maybe next year. I don't know.
Wow. Pretty bold prediction there.
I'm just rolling the dice here, so go ahead and hold me to it.
What would you tell Cody so he doesn't lose momentum, so he doesn't flame out? Like, guys come in, they have this big push, and then it flames out. What do you do here with Cody that it doesn't, or hopefully doesn't flame out?
I would hope that you have guys like Michael Hayes around him and know how to talk to him and know how to ask for advice. And I'm sure he does. And I'm sure he has his own ideas. I don't know that what I would tell him, but I'm pretty sure he has that instinct on what to do and to take his time and make sure the story's told right. And I'm sure he has a way to tell the story. I'm sure he has his ideas. So I would tell him listen to his gut, and uh, the dream will let him know what to do.
To me, when he was in AEW, he stuck out so far beyond the other guys. Maybe not MJF, but most of the other guys because he could cut a good promo. He can get your emotions going. He could actually work. He looks like he goes to the gym. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He when he was in AEW when he started, and then when he left, he probably put on 15 pounds of muscle. I mean, he checked all the boxes. And if you're Vince McMahon, you're watching this guy. It's like, okay, he dresses professionally. He knows where the cameras are, which is pretty stupid to say, but it is true. So many
no,
guys in AEW do not know production stuff like he does. Like, you know what I mean? He knows where to look. He's mastered that part of it. I feel like
well,
he's the guy. Like, if you watch him in your Vince, you're like, I want him back. Like he's got it.
sure. And that was all part of the process, and uh, part of the idea, part of the plan going back. So he Cody knows what to do. He understands how to be a top guy, and that's the huge part of that is outside the ring, dressing the part, looking the part, being the part, doing the part, going to the gym, um, budgeting your time wisely, and doing the things you should do, need to do, and follow your plan. So I think it's great um, that he did make that commitment, that he did come back, and he's made it clear what he wants. So if he does not accomplish that goal, then it's on him. And if he accomplishes that goal, it's on him too. So once again, you either believe you can or believe you can't. Either way, you're right. And I truly believe that he's a person who says with faith that he is going to get what he wants. He truly believes that.
To me, great business move with that Go Big show. So he's on TBS. He's on a big reality
Ah,
show for them, big reality show. Then he did that other reality show with him and Brandy, Roads to the Top. WB notices stuff like that. I mean, that's great. That's like their bread and butter, right? I mean, they love that stuff.
sure. Yeah. And he's smart to do it. He wants to diversify. So why wouldn't he? And once again, you're given opportunities, and it's up to you with what you do with it. And Cody's made the best of every opportunity so far that he's received, and I think he's going to continue on, barring something major, barring a big falling out. And God knows that would never happen in wrestling.
Yeah, true. Now, I
Yeah,
have no idea where this is coming from, and I don't even know this is true, but it says thoughts on Cody and Brandy splitting up. I have never heard that. I think I saw a picture of them together yesterday, I think was on Twitter. If it is, big move, bad mistake on his part if they are. But I don't think that is true, actually.
well, you do know we just got the Amber Heard Johnny Depp
Yeah,
just
yeah,
today.
yep.
So there you go. Now, who knows? I don't know.
Depp won.
I,
Johnny Depp won.
yes, he did.
Yes, justice. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And for those of never mind. Yeah, good for him.
Cody's really over. Does Vince want another babyface to wear the belt? Obviously, Reigns is champ right now. He's been, I think it's
Well,
six
that's what I'm
hundred and
saying. You
twenty
can't. You
plus
can't.
days as a heel champ.
Yeah, I don't believe anybody's going to rush it. I just think when the time is right and the story gets hotter, or the story gets just right, where it's time to take it out of the oven and present it, and let's all have a piece. And now I'm the champion. Cake for everyone. Uh, so, yeah, barring something catastrophic, I think the story will go along, and Roman Reigns, no rush to take the title off him yet. But I think the longer it goes, as long as it doesn't get stale, and you see Cody doing his thing with Seth Rollins, and then following up with the next angle, with the next program. I think eventually he's going to wind up as champion, hopefully.
Do you think Cody always knew he'd be returning to WWE after helping start up AEW?
The crown, not the crown, the throne. He made subtle comments, I guess, and promos, and everybody else did too. So maybe he did, or maybe it just came to him, as he started looking around and understood that AEW is AEW, but WWE is WWE, and he has unfinished business there since he came. And he's seen the match where Dream grabs the belt and puts it around his waist, and Madison Square Garden, and it was a hot crowd, and that's his dad. He wanted to play that part. He wants to be that part, not play it. He wants to be that part where the Dream didn't wear it, the Nightmare has it. That's what I think.
I think that's enough Cody Rhodes talk because there's so many other questions coming in for you. Here's a good one. With a great mind for the business like yourself, why didn't WWE pick you up to work with your brother?
I have a horrible attitude.
Really? That's it?
I don't know. You have to ask them. I think they want people more along the ages they have as coaches, and they like the way they run their stuff, and they had a taste of me before and they wanted to switch. So I think it's just one of those things that we've given you an opportunity, and right now we're not interested. Otherwise, I don't have any other answer for you.
This might be the greatest name ever in history. Bobo Booey. Instead of Baba Booey, Bobo Booey.
I love Bobo Booey.
Yes. Has Dr. Tom ever tried to help Bruce lose weight? That's a good question.
Well, I did try to hide his food when I went to visit him. I would lock the refrigerator. I put a big chain around it. That didn't work. All he did was get cutters. So no,
he's not looking that bad though.
He's not.
Yeah.
No, and he lost a lot of weight a few years ago, but he's not doing so bad. I mean, we all need to lose weight, and God knows no excuse, but we all need to lose weight.
From Doug. Hey, Dr. Tom, what's your gym workout like nowadays? Perfect question. Perfect time.
Great segue, because last July when I tore both my meniscus, didn't get it checked until September. I couldn't get it worked on. I couldn't get it taken care of until last December. So as I'm going back to the gym and I'm trying to have these great workouts, it's again an explanation, not an excuse. And then I would get to the gym and it would dissipate. So then my other knee started hurting, so that just gave me another reason to go and get it looked at. And my gym workout isn't looking very frequent these days. That's just the truth. Yeah.
Thoughts on CM Punk winning the AEW World Heavyweight Championship?
Great move. I think it's a good move. Give Punk, Adam Page, I guess. I don't know a whole lot about the Hangman, but I think CM Punk is a good guy to put it on. People at least are going to talk about it maybe a little more and wait and see what pipe bombs he comes up with next. I think it's a great move.
With the Punker, I do think it's good to finally, you bring him in. He's this big name. He hasn't been out there forever. Like, give him the title and really start to do something with it, because they weren't really doing much with Page as champion.
Right. So obviously they're waiting for the right time, or maybe this has something to do with the MGF thing. Why wouldn't it? So who knows?
Question for me from David. Is there anybody John won't interview as far as a wrestler? No, I don't think so. I can't think of anybody. I would pretty much interview everybody or anybody.
Yeah.
I know there's been some people that I've interviewed that I've gotten messages people had problems with, but too bad. I'll interview anybody.
Well, I think you might reconsider, John.
All right. Well, maybe not everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Your thoughts on Earthquake John Tenta, who passed away in 2007?
I liked John. He was actually a really nice guy. And I didn't talk to him a whole lot, and I didn't know him real well. But there were a few occasions where he was a very meek, mild. I don't say meek, but he was an easygoing guy. Every time I was around him, at any building, anywhere.
Did you ever wrestle him?
I don't believe so. I say I don't believe so because there's a chance, but I don't think I did.
Oh, look at this. This is a great random mention, and this guy you definitely did wrestle. Memories of Portland wrestling mainstay Mike Miller. Been watching a lot of that area lately. That is Chris Norman. Interesting.
Mike Miller was great. He was awesome. He was mean Mike Miller. And I'd met him in Georgia a couple of years before that, before I got to Oregon. And coming up there, and he was having a blast, him and Rip Oliver with the the Cripplers. What was the Clan? Couldn't remember for a second. They had the Clan, Rip Oliver, the Assassin, being Mike Miller, and he was a great guy. He was fun to work with in the ring too.
Mean Mike Miller. Here's a good question. Do you stay in touch with Stan Lane at all?
I haven't talked to Stan in a while either. No. He's in Charlotte. He's married. Or I don't think maybe he is in Charlotte. He might be Myrtle Beach, actually. He got married, has a nice life, does the boating commentary for speedboats on ESPN, I think, still. So he enjoys that. He likes boats. He likes sun and fun and in the beach. So he's doing good, but I haven't talked to him in a while.
Do you ever listen to Brother Bruce's podcast?
I have.
To wrestle with Bruce and Connie.
Mm-hmm. I have listened to his podcast. That's the thing. He has really good stories, and he's willing to tell. I don't know that I have that many stories that I can tell. So I don't know if they're for public consumption or not. Then I listen to his and go, oh, well, hell, mine's kind of tame compared to what he did.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
So.
From Dwayne Norville, who you last week thought was Norville Austin. It is not. Where can I find your book? And didn't you train with the Iron Sheik?
Yes. First of all, you can find my book, and we'll do it again at the end of this deal too. But it's at jpwrestlingacademy.com. First page, you'll see it, and just click on it. Takes you right to Amazon. You can order it there. And the Iron Sheik did train me in Houston, Texas. That was when a football player thought it was going to be easy, and the ropes were rubber bands, and the ring was a trampoline. And after we did 100 push-ups and 100 squats, then he got in there and Sheik stretched him. Then he stretched me. He came back one more week, got stretched again, never saw him again. So,
wow.
Sheiky baby didn't wear his pointed boots when we were working out either. He wore those little small amateur wrestling boots, the kind that where they really want to hurt you. Yeah. And he hurt the football player too. I don't remember his name. Don't care.
Bobo again, Bobo Booey. Would John ever interview the Goon? Yes, I would. Bill Irwin. Yes, I would, for sure.
Why wouldn't you interview the Goon?
He's been out there to have an interview and maybe have a drink or two and get a little crazy is what I've seen and heard.
I can understand that, and I don't know if it's just the environment we find ourselves in today's world, but I think everybody gets a little crazy now and then. So
sober interviews are key though. Sometimes
sober interviews. Have you ever seen David Lee Roth?
Oh yeah. Well,
you don't get a point from Ice-T, and Dave knows how to tell you what the story is, even if it's even if he has to be sober for it. He can let you know that there's sanity and insanity in every fiber of our body. So give the guy a break for a second. The Goon, that is, Bill Irwin.
Fred K. Schultz. Is Jerry Stubbs the most underrated wrestler of all time? Jerry Stubbs, nice.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the most underrated wrestler. I certainly think he is a underrated wrestler. He was incredible. I worked with him a couple times too, and he was excellent. He and Brad Armstrong had some great matches in Continental too. But yeah, I'll say he is one of the most one of the underrated wrestlers. Um, certainly, Jerry was great.
Memories and thoughts of Ahmed Johnson and why he didn't go further. Could he, could he have been better if you took him under your wing and he became your protege? Hey, I like that.
Who's asking this? John,
Jimmy, Jimmy.
Jimmy Show. Jimmy? No, I don't think it would be better if I took him under my wing because Ahmed was not going to go under anybody's wing. Ahmed wasn't. I don't think Ahmed was meant to be mentored or counseled. I think Ahmed felt he didn't need that. All he needed was was what he had, and he was sorely mistaken. I got along great with Ahmed, and I remember when he got hurt, and as he's telling me this, and I know in my head why I understand he's hurt, but at the same time I also understand that maybe, just maybe, it's not as bad as everybody is assuming. So, but I'm going with it like saying, yeah, if I was hurt, I wouldn't want to work either, or something like that. And I don't know if he took that as a sarcasm thing, but I was trying sure as hell not to put the sarcasm spin on it. But it was one of those things where I thought, hold on, Ahmed, you really could be a big guy if you learn how to work like a big guy, and that's all. But I don't think taking him under my wing, so to speak, would have helped one bit. Ahmed was going to listen to one guy, and that was Ahmed. My opinion.
Did they ever make a Dr. Tom action figure? Yes,
No,
actually.
actually, no.
What?
WWE never made a Dr. Tom figure.
No, but you have one coming out soon, don't you?
Oh, we do. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do. Well, hopefully with this China thing and this thing going on everywhere, man. That's what I'm saying, man. We've got supplies still. I
I
guess
did see the prototype, though. It looked good.
Yeah, I guess, but haven't seen the live one or haven't seen the actual one. It's just drawn. So yeah, this year though,
Figures Toy Company. Yeah.
Figures Inc. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. No.
Did Bruce ever want to be a wrestler?
Yes. Yes, he did. He had bad knees. He played football in middle school or in junior high and then high school. Yeah, he wanted to be a wrestler. I think he was smarter than that, though.
Oh, that's a good point.
Well, it is a good point. I mean, my hair covers most of it, but it's a good point.
Thoughts on the Fiend Bray Wyatt, rumored to be returning at the upcoming Hell in a Cell pay-per-view?
Is he rumored to be returning at Hell in a Cell?
I don't know about Hell in a Cell, but he's had some eerie messages lately on Twitter that he's coming back, and now he's finally ready to come back. So I don't know if he means come back to wrestling or come back to WWE. He didn't say.
With the Fiend, here's what I believe, and he has not told me this. No one's told me this, but I believe that a guy like the Fiend needs to clear his head now and then, and needs to tend to the most important things in his life, and it's not always wrestling. So family and getting his rest and doing things that are comfortable and right for him and the people he cares about is number one on his priority list. So I think if he's coming back, he's obviously talked to someone and explained what he needs, what he wants. Again, no one's told me anything. It's just what I'm assuming. If he is rumored to come back, I think it would be great to come back. I think it'd be a good thing to have someone like him around. And by that, I mean someone who knows how to talk to people who may have issues. Because Wyndham's approachable. Let me take that back. He was approachable. at one time. But also, you never know what's going on behind the scenes with him, with creative, with whoever he's dealing with. It could be just a simple issue that nobody needs to know, nobody cares to hear, or it could be nothing at all, except he just needs to get away and take a break.
This is a great question from Craig. Is there a wrestling venue that smelled worse than the Pavilion in Calgary?
Oh, wait a minute. I've never been to the Pavilion in Calgary, but I have seen it on video, and I'm thinking,
Craig
if it's,
obviously has been, yeah.
yeah. Well, I've been to the Dallas Sportatorium, okay, and that wasn't the freshest of fresh either. And I've been to some pretty some small places and some fairly medium places. It just was terrible, but you had great matches there because it was that ambience and that atmosphere. I don't know how the Pavilion smelled in Calgary, but holy smoke, Dallas, ooh, Sportatorium was a classic wrestling building that people came from all over the world to see. Then when they get in and smell it, it's like, holy smokes.
Yeah, this is the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the first time I ever went to ECW Arena, 20
Oh, an
years ago,
ECW
yeah.
arena. Yeah,
Like,
it wasn't that bad
this
though.
was this
Oh.
was like, ooh, man.
Yeah, it was great.
Fred says, when are you coming back to Sweetwater?
This Friday, the 3rd. Yeah, we'll be in Sweetwater, and I'm looking forward to going back there. That's another place. Joe Kazana is popping, doing some shows in Sweetwater, Tennessee, and slowly but surely building. Good to see. So we'll be there this Friday, January 3rd. Thank you. June 3rd.
Dr. Thomas, a legend, met him at MLW in Dallas Fort Worth area almost 3 years ago. Got a picture with him, still smiling to this day. Any funny sportatorium stories? Obviously, besides the smell.
Well, no, I think I don't know if there's any funny sportatorium stories. I mean, it was one of those things where we would get a bus. We'd all park our cars at the Kmart in Hendersonville, Tennessee, get on a bus, nice tour bus, and drive from Hendersonville to Dallas through the night. And we'd get there. The baby faces would go to the gym, and Gypsy Joe and me and whoever the other heels were, Eric Embry, to either crash in the sportatorium or walk downtown and grab something to eat and keep ourselves occupied before match time, and take a shower and try to wash the sleep out of your eyes and go in and have a match. And sometimes we would stay over and work some of the Texas towns, like on a Saturday or a Sunday. But most of the time we'd get back on the bus, travel all night, get in to Memphis early Saturday morning, do TV Saturday morning, drive to the bus would take us back to Nashville, and we'd pick up our cars and do Nashville that night. So
Nice.
that I don't have any funny stories about it. It's just it was a hectic travel schedule. That's what you did back then.
What was your favorite tag team to be in?
Well, I would have to say the Heavenly Bodies with Stan Lane. I enjoyed Jimmy Del Rey, just two different partners, and Stan was pretty easy and calm and let things roll off his back and was funny and entertaining. Not that Jimmy wasn't. He just had a different way of being that. Me too. So I think Heavenly Bodies with Stan.
One just final question here before we wrap it up. The Ultimate Warrior was quite overly rough with your brother in the ring and bumped the heck out of him. Was it just his imagination, or is that actually true?
Man, okay. Well, no, that's actually true. But Warrior was like that with everybody. So no different. It was just the Warrior. Bruce, I think Bruce will tell you that too.
Did Bruce and the Warrior have issues or no?
No, I just think that was a Warrior. And Warrior did it to Taker. He did it to He did it to Andre, I think, one night, and Andre told him to loosen up, and did it the next night, and then Andre punched him in the mouth and chilled out. So I think the Warrior was just hyped up and had that short burst of energy, and that was it. I don't think it had anything to do with Bruce personally, although I certainly don't know.
Could be. You never know with Bruce. Could be. But
You know what? You never. I never know anymore. I really don't. So
let's talk about your book, A Pro Wrestling Curriculum, Advice, Suggestions, and Stories to help the aspiring pro get to the next level. How time working to get this awesome book?
Go to jpwrestlingacademy.com. It is on the front page. Just click it. It'll take you to Amazon and order it. jpwrestlingacademy.com.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. Check out the website, tmptempire.com. Of course, you can follow Dr. Tom on Twitter at Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, what else you got going on in your travels? I know Sweetwater's coming up.
Sweetwater's coming up, but we also have a graduation coming up June 24th in Sweetwater. So we're looking forward to that too. And that's about it, man. We're rolling right along.
Good stuff as always. Dr. Tom, thank you everybody out there for listening. We'll see you right back
love
here.
Portland, by the way.
Yes, KC, yes. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Oh, one final thing. Can we get the book signed? Yes, right?
Yes. Oh, you know what? Yes. If you do want a signed book, it's on PayPal or email me. I tell you what. Email me at jpwrestlingacademy@gmail.com. Put attention Dr. Tom book, and I will send you the information on how to get it signed. How about that?
Perfect. Here we go. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody out there for listening. We'll see you right back here next week for We'll Take You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. See you next week, folks.